Hello book lovers, welcome back to the Monday Book Club. This week we are discussing Frank Herbert's Dune. Now, Dune is one of those novels that if you've seen anything in science fiction, it's probably been influenced by this book, ever since the 1970s anyway. And it's an amazing work. It's basically the Lord of the Rings for science fiction. It's not really hard science fiction, it's more on the softer side, because it talks about spice that extends life and allows faster than light travel through hyperspace and things like that. But the story itself isn't really all that science fiction-y. It's one of those science fiction stories that is in the science fiction section because it deals with some weird science ideas. But mostly it's a political book. It's all about the machinations of several large major houses which appear to be modelled on the Holy Roman Empire style of political systems, where each house is powerful and the emperor comes from one of these powerful houses, basically by consent of the other houses. So it's not quite elected, but it is on consent. So the book deals with House Atreides, who are on the rise because of political machinations that are going on in the background, and they've taken over a desert planet where all of the spice for the entire galaxy comes from. The spice being the thing that extends life, expands consciousness, allows faster than light travel. So it's a very, very powerful resource. So why isn't the Emperor looking after it himself? Surely that would allow his power base to be expanded, or at least solidified, but that's part of what the novel's about. It's always controlled by someone else because of a checks and balances thing. So the previous group that were in control of Arrakis, House Harkonnen, of course aren't very happy having their power base eroded, and that's where the political machinations come in. It's about revenge and scheming, and it's an amazing political drama, but it's set in a science fiction setting, so a lot of people who just basically don't like science fiction probably won't have read it. But it's well worth getting past those little bits that just seem a bit weird to people who don't like science fiction and getting into the meat of the book. The book itself is quite long, but it's split up into several sections, so it's not like a massive, massive thump, here's a massive book type thing, like the Lord of the Rings can be. It's easy to digest in chunks, and it's well worth having a look at, even if you're not really a fan of science fiction, because it is so well written. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would give this a 7, possibly even an 8, because the writing is very good, the plotline is fantastic. It can take a little bit of time to get going, that's one of the only problems with it. If you ever see the film or the TV series, it basically starts on about page 50 of the book, because that's how long it takes to actually get the plot moving. But if you stick with it, it's well worth it. It does reward you for the long haul. Okay, that's Frank Herbert's Dune, one of 6 books in the original Dune series, and I would highly recommend going with this book at the very least. If you like it that much that you want to go on, that's fine, but some of the prequels aren't quite as good, and that's probably a story for another day. So Frank Herbert's Dune will give it 7, possibly even an 8 out of 10, and that's it for this week's Monday Book Club. Thank you for watching. If you did like this, remember to click the like button, share it with your friends so that they can see a good book that they might want to read, and subscribe for future videos. But until next time, I've been Kirk-Robinson. You've been watching the ZJKR channel. I'll see you next time.